work pages serving in the battle for the Republic. This is the big war. We are in the war.
It's an information war. It's silent weapons for silent war. This is how they're going to come after our rights, our freedoms, our gun rights. And that's really what this is all about. At the end of the day, the Democrats did push the legislation through for this gun control legislation. And this was the perfect catalyst, the perfect situation to create prior to that, to use it as an example as to what to limit our
uprisings.
At the end of the day, it's the deep state that's the big octopus who we've already seen colluding with the Democratic Party leaders over spying on Trump's campaign.
Well, let's get you back on the war room coming up today with Owen Schroyer. And, of course, Roger Stone will be popping back in on that. So great job with your investigative journalism. Millie Weaver.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit more on Stephen and just say one last thing on him. He reeks of some kind of a weapons contractor, and I'm going to continue getting to the bottom of that, and I will be updating.
Oh, he's got millions of dollars. He gets to gamble professionally, but never runs out of money.
Yeah. Yeah, where's he getting his money from? Oh, is he washing it in casinos? Because that's typically what you do with black market money. You wash it through casinos, and that would mean that's why he's a high-limit gambler.
Stay right there. Roger Stone, give us your 60-second or 50-second approximation of what you see happening here.
I'll tell you what I see, Alex. I see citizen journalism taking control in this country like never before. People have figured out the NBCs, the CBSs, the CNNs, that they're full of it, and they have to go to sites like InfoWars to get the cutting-edge truth in this entire matter.
I'll tell you, it's sad but true, because I don't want to get ratings this way, but we have gargantuan traffic to everything, to millions and millions of new listeners every few hours at Infowars.com and Newswars.com. Stay with us. Roger Stone straight ahead for the next hour. Then, The War Room with Owen Schroyer, Roger Stone, and more. Stay with us. Will be, of course, all the time.
Making it even more obvious that he has a leftist connection.
And if it's not him, it's his twin brother. I mean, the video is conclusive. It is him, or it's his twin brother.
There's no question about it. And, you and I both remember back in 1963 when the mainstream media came out almost immediately and said Lee Harvey Oswald, lone nut, communist, came from Russia, and so on. And that became the official narrative. That won't work anymore. It's not 1963 anymore. Now people can harness the power of InfoWars, the power of the internet, and a dozen other alternative media.
Well, let's say, it's the autistic keyboard army. The media says we say that meanly. No, they call themselves that. They'll do it 25 hours a day. I know there's only 24. It's a joke for the young Turks. I don't know how many hours are in a day. The 25 hours a day, it's like 110%. They will go in there and find every piece of data. You cannot stop them.
No, it's actually exciting in the sense that it's a tragedy, of course, that this awful loss of life. But what we're seeing is citizen democracy in action. We no longer have to buy the BS of the mainstream media who will give us the government sanitized version of what happened in Las Vegas. We will, collectively, we will get to the bottom of this, and we will find out exactly what happened.
That's right. It's an information total revolution, like 1776, but squared to the next level. It's beautiful. It's incredible. It's unstoppable.
Well, and I think you put it right in the opening here. This is beginning to smell more and more like some kind of gun-running operation. Is it odd that this fellow has no history whatsoever of any social media contact? That would be typical of a government agent, an FBI agent, for example, or a DEA agent. That he has no record as a gun enthusiast, yet he has a veritable arsenal in his room. An arsenal no one saw him bring in, and no one saw him bring ammunition or any of the other necessary pieces, the elaborate filming apparatus, and so on. How very strange. And then we track him undeniably to an anti-Trump rally, actually two different anti-Trump rallies, two different events. I think that's a
This is like Lee Harvey Oswald at the communist rallies.
Well, very well. He could have been put there as a plant. That's entirely possible.
Oh, he worked at Lockheed, and it looks like Skunk Works, Connected Areas, and NASA. I mean, this is classic. Lee Harvey Oswald worked at the U2 proto Skunk Works.
Well, and as you know, they told us in the Warren Commission he was a known communist. Then why was he handing out anti-communist literature in New Orleans? Going out of his way to get in a scuffle, arrested, taken to the New Orleans police station. He's allowed one phone call. Does he call his lawyer? Does he call his wife? No, he calls the head of the FBI. In 30 minutes, he's sprung with no charges.
Turn right.
How curious.
Turn right.
It's all in the man who killed Kennedy, the case against LBJ. But I do see these strange parallels, Alex. The difference is now you have a crusading, independent, alternative journalistic tradition in this country that's taken root through the internet, and they're not going to be able to pull the wool over our eyes. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and I don't even think we've begun in terms of ferreting out the facts. I salute Laura Loomer, I like to call her Little Laura Loomer, because Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin are so deathly afraid of her. There's a woman I like.
Absolutely. I got to say, I love you triggering them with the matching American flag behind you. For radio listeners, people can watch it at Infowars.com/show. I got to tell you. Now they're so triggered and want it banned and call it evil. And now, Laura, you know stronger than ever, because we've retaken the country to a great extent. It's our flag again, and we're flying that sucker in everybody's face. So get used to it.
It is so offensive to see what's happening in the NFL. And to see the people who are trying to tear down the great traditions and the democratic milestones of this country. No, America's not perfect. But
so we've come along.
Injustice. I mean, look, Abraham Lincoln, Dr. King, Malcolm X, these men died to outlaw discrimination.
And now folks are acting like they didn't get anything done.
That they act like nothing's happened. No, America's not perfect. Yes, we still have racial discrimination. But at least today it's illegal. At least today it can be pursued in the courts. At least it is the law of the land. And great men like Dr. King are responsible for that.
That's right. Roger Stone's taking over here in 2 minutes. I just want folks to know that his favorite nootropic, that's Brain Pill, Brain Booster, Secret 12, is also going to be ending its sale at 40% off. But we have the Brain Force Plus now 20% more. That is 50% off. We've never gone with that big of a sale, not because it's not selling. It's sold out for months. I said double the shipment. I want a humongous shipment so I can really discount this baby. And, don't worry, we still make like $5 or so, $6. But at this price, it really is me like a drug pusher trying to get you addicted. I'm being facetious, but there's always some truth to a joke, at least 5% of it. I mean, it's healthy, it's good, it's great. I want you to try it, just like our coffee is addictive and great. I want you to try that as well. It's discounted right now. 50% off, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Rainforest can run for another week, but Vitamin Mineral Fusion, we've never gone 50% off on it. But the amino acids, total absorption, it's so great. That is going to have to stop today because it'll be months till we get more. If I don't, this is going to sell out. So a bunch of these specials, Caveman, Vitamin Mineral Fusion, Secret 12, they're all either ending today or in the next 3 days. By that, Vitamin Mineral Fusion's gone today at 50% off. And then the other next few days, we haven't done the numbers yet. But again, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. But thank you all for committing to the InfoWar. Thank you for financially supporting us. Thank you for buying these products. Thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for being the InfoWar. Get free shipping as well at InfoWarsStore.com. When you sign up for auto ship, you're going to get an additional 10% off on top of that as well. 100% support this. Have a shelf for listening.
Singer going to consider it, but having met her recently in Las Vegas at a conservative political action conference, I can tell you she is one impressive, articulate, beautiful, conservative woman, and she'd make a heck of a candidate. So I'm hoping, just on a personal level, that she makes the race. Now, Sean Maloney is a very smart, capable guy, very articulate, advocate for his own liberal point of view. It would be a classic race. While the entire world remains focused on Las Vegas, confusion after the terror act there, not even 3 full days have passed since this revolting attack in Las Vegas, and the story, inconsistencies, and the number of conspiracy theories that are spouting like mushrooms on decayed wood are really quite extraordinary. Word comes from the LA Times that Stephen Paddock was a regular at the Virgin River Casino Starbucks in Mesquite, Nevada, that he gambled very large sums, very strange for a man who we're told was a retired accountant with no activity of either gun enthusiasm or political activity. He was seen there many times. He often saw Paddock abusing Danley. He was nasty, mean to her, quoting things like, "I'm paying for your drink just like I'm paying for you." Then, unabashedly, Danley would step down and say, "Okay." So looking at Paddock's own words, albeit hearsay, via a Starbucks barista, he was paying for Mary Lou Danley like paying for a cup of coffee. And it is, I think, gives us some insights into his psyche. Taken at face value, we know that he doesn't like to be alone. We know the service he pays for are not real, and more so, having a paid companion prohibits ability to find any truly meaningful relationship, but I doubt the man cares. Now, is this all psychobabble? Yes, to a certain extent, we are all guessing. But there's an army of citizen journalists out there, and the digging has begun. And we've already begun to find holes in the seemingly inconsistent and most definitely incomplete official narrative as to what really happened here, who Stephen Paddock really is, whether he is in fact the shooter, whether he is in fact the only shooter. Since you have different shooting stations, some of those with much greater gun experience than I have questioned his ability to move quickly enough between stations, given the weight and mobility of the weapons he was using. Laura Loomer, I think, was among those who pointed out that we have evidence of a woman, a second guest, in Paddock's room, room 32135. But we still have no official explanation of who this woman was, whether she was potentially a prostitute or a Confederate. And then there's the double order of the receipt. Now, the FBI insists that Paddock checked into the Mandalay Bay Resort on September 28th, 2017. You can see this repeated over and over and over again by the mainstream media. New York Magazine, only a couple hours ago, repeating that date. Yet, if we look at the actual receipt from the Mandalay Bay Hotel, we see that it's actually dated September 27th, 2017. Now, this is gasoline for the conspiracy fire. This is what leads people to jump to a broad distrust of both the mainstream media and the federal and state governments who feed us this nonsense. Why would the authorities mislead the public about something so simple as his check-in date? And if they're misleading us about this, from the dark recesses of the internet comes even more unvetted connections, but some of these leads are so incredible, I have to share. It kind of starts with a disgraced California state senator, an ex-state senator named Leland Yee. Yee was arrested and convicted after to a 5-year sentence for accepting bribes and trafficking arms through, yes, you guessed it, the Philippines. With more than 20 firearms found in Paddock's rooms, it seems that there may have been some effort that ties the Philippines, the girlfriend, to a gun-running operation akin to Fast and Furious. We are looking into this, a 137-page affidavit, which was the results of a 5-year investigation on Leland Yee, which was made public by the FBI. Soon after his arrest, revealed the senator was allegedly proactive in dealing arms through the Philippines, through Muslim groups there. Whether we can establish any tie to Stephen Paddock remains to be seen, but we at InfoWars are working assiduously on this story. The reason that I bring this up is to clearly state that the FBI is still known to track and attempt international buyers and sellers of guns, particularly to drug lords and terrorists. The Fast and Furious gun walking scandal was the result of just one such effort going all the way back to 2009. Leland Lee is a more current example, 2016. There can be little doubt that such activity still is going on, yet we come to an impasse when it comes to getting any answers about Stephen Paddock. We are going to be staying on top of this. We don't know whether some kind of deal was going down at Mandalay Bay. We don't know whether the feds know more about this than they are telling us. We know we're not getting the straight story because of so many holes in the official versions so far. Many people who were on the terrible site that night say that they personally witnessed multiple shooters, and therein lies a deep problem with the official narrative. I'm Roger Stone. You're here on The Alex Jones Show, and I'll be right back.
Exit right to I-10.
Men, give your body the support it needs with InfoWars Light Trust Guard. It's time to start assisting the body in regular copper.
Of organic do everyday
For our children, the artificial particulates, the chemicals, is absolutely weighing down Army via steel.
FBI taking of evidence during the raid. We have numerous precedents of judges very recently saying that sweeping a warrant violates the Fourth Amendment. So in other words, Robert Mueller's only four tactics, which were orchestrated by investigator Adam Weissman, may now backfire on his inquiry into the president. The other major development that I think bears attention was a little-known comment by General John Kelly in the Washington Post only this past week. Kelly said that all policy initiatives now would go to White House aide Mark Short. Now, Mark Short formerly worked for the Koch brothers, comes out of the Americans for Prosperity nonprofit organization funded by the Kochs. The Kochs, you'll remember, are no particular fans of Donald J. Trump, and they opposed his nomination as the Republican nominee for president, essentially until the bitter end. What's interesting, of course, is that Stephen Miller is the individual who still holds the title of Director of Policy and Planning. And under the White House flowchart, all policy is supposed to flow to Miller. So was General Kelly giving us the early heads up that Stephen Miller, the last remaining Trump campaign veteran, the man who whose eloquence and whose writing talents so incredibly punched up the president's superb address at the United Nations only weeks ago, is Miller himself, the last standing Trumpite inside the Trump White House, not long for this world. That would be after the departure of Stephen K. Bannon, after the downgrading of Peter Navarro, the president's special trade representative, and we have to wonder whether Miller, who we refer to as the Minister of Propaganda, and we say that affectionately, is long for this world, or whether there is some lateral transfer in mind for Mr. Miller. We here at InfoWars are fans of Stephen Miller because of his ability to handle the mainstream media in a most efficient manner. If you've ever seen this guy stand up in a press scrum, he is nothing short of brilliant. But more importantly, he completely understands the president's mind. He's completely copacetic with the president when it comes to the agenda for reform in this country. He is the last remaining true, loyal Trumpite in the building. It will be a tremendous tragedy if General Kelly, who is succeeding, based on all reports, in bringing down an iron curtain around the president, cutting him off from longtime associates, political supporters, campaign staff, and yes, in some instances, cutting him off from his very own family. It will be a tragedy if Mr. Miller joins the ranks of those who've been squeezed out of the Trump White House. Seen in Washington yesterday, Miller had no comment on these press reports. I do want to mention to you now that Secret 12, which I have found to be, without any question, the best multi-vitamin and mineral formula out there, B12 specific, that Alex pointed out that to those here who will tell you what we know, well then stay tuned to InfoWars, and you can get the
And with inadequate thyroid hormones, you may experience slow metabolism, lethargy, weight gain, and overall brain fog. Survival Shield
show, or opposite, I believe at the behest of our State Department, that speech was canceled. We also learned that Kwok was to hold a press